Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, trust talks, and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to look for, what to expect, and what to watch out for so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. When disaster strikes, whether it's fire, flood, or storms, insurance adjusters are the professionals who step in to help put the pieces back together. They're the ones who assess the damage, negotiate the claims, and make sure families and businesses can recover after the unexpected. But what exactly do insurance adjusters do? How do you know who to trust in the process? Today, we're going to take you inside the world of insurance adjusting to uncover how they work, what challenges they face, and why their role matters now more than ever. Joining me today are Damond and Lamar Toles from For You LLC out of New Haven.
How are you?
Thank you both for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
What you're going to share with us is really important for homeowners, or really anyone who plans to purchase a home, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit first about your business, For You, Damond.
So For You, we are a military-owned, family-owned, award-winning public adjusting firm. The simplest way to put it is to give you a story, a real story. We will take you back to 2020. There was a family just bought their first home, and they just moved in. All their amazing belongings were in that home. Christmas was approaching. They had brand new gifts wrapped underneath the tree, ready to give to their children. They had one of those gifts that was they call them Power Wheels, these little toys that the kid goes in and they ride like it's a tiny car, right? And they had a little lithium battery inside. That lithium battery was what charged this vehicle. They plugged this vehicle into the wall overnight so their children can have the chance to play with this vehicle in the morning. But that was the first mistake. Turns out that charging and overcharging these lithium batteries causes it to overheat, and it caused a fire in their home. They heard a sound in the middle of the night, and he had to make a decision. Who do I save? Of course he saved his family, the father of the home. As he's standing there, firemen are putting out the fire, middle of the night. They comfort him. They tell him, the good news is you're okay. They pull off from the scene. Now he's standing there with his home in shambles, and he lost everything. What do you do next? At that point, normally the person has a blank. It's blank in their mind. They're not aware of what to do next. How do you go from that situation back to your home that you knew and loved? How do you pick up where you left off with your work, your marriage, your children going to school? What do you do in those situations? All those questions do need answers, and every decision you make from that point on affects your future. We are the firm that takes that off of your shoulders so you can go ahead and recover, and we make sure we give you expert guidance all the way home.
So that brings me then to Lamar. What is that space that you fill? What does an insurance adjuster exactly do?
Well, Damond mentioned it. He touched on we're the firm, right? I want to make just really harp upon the difference between a licensed public adjuster and an insurance adjuster, right? The insurance company usually sends out their own insurance adjuster that works for them. A licensed public adjuster is licensed through the state, regulated through the state of Connecticut, to advocate on behalf of the policyholder, whether that's commercial or residential. And really, in short of it all, we help, say if it's a residential homeowner, we help them get home. We return home. We help them negotiate the funds with the insurance company, with the adjuster that they send out. Their adjuster is generally a specialist, so the homeowner would usually, it would make sense to hire a specialist for them to negotiate with the other specialists. So it could be a lengthy process, but we're the professionals who know the next step in order to take and what to say and what not to say to get the homeowner home fast, and basically maximizing the loss, make sure they recuperate all the funds and are fully indemnified during the process.
So an insurance company has their own adjuster, the insurance adjuster that represents them. You as the public adjuster represent the family or the victim property owner.
Correct. Absolutely. So we work alongside these insurance adjusters from the insurance side. So we have a relationship. Half the time they know us already. They know my family. They know my father. So it's we really take we remove the professional hat and we say, hey, this is a family that suffered this loss. Let's work. Let's have a mutual goal to help them return home.
You mentioned your dad. You're following in his footsteps. Tell me a little bit about that.
I call him my pops. Yeah, in this industry, there's not a lot of next of kin adjusters. We go to these conferences together. We learn together. And he always brags about it. He's like, hey, my son this, my son that. I would love to work with them, but they're moving different. So he's very proud of us. It makes him look better, and he still practices today. So we run into each other all the time.
Shout out to Dad.
So 2 separate businesses. You started your own business.
Right.
But doing the same thing that your dad did when you were growing up. So what is it like working as brothers?
It's a great dynamic. We've come from an entrepreneurial family, entrepreneurial background. Our father had a philosophy, and that was, you're going to work for yourself. You're going to take those same qualities that you instill and you're going to put them in yourself, and then you're going to serve within those qualities. Since that was the fabric of our foundation, it was easy to synchronize, to come together with Claims For You. Before Claims For You, we actually worked with our father, and then we started a firm in California, which allowed us to help wildfire victims. So in that, we were very happy to serve with the 2020 pandemic. It changed the nature of how we were to operate. So we brought that same schematic to our backyard, and it was working with Lamar. I could overwork him, underpay him. It's a wonderful thing. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, he's thinking, he's helping others. We're not punching in, we're not punching out of a clock. We are serving, and it feels like it's embedded into the fabric of who we are, and it changed the nature of how I see the world. So I'm very fortunate to be able to work with not only my brother, but a great team that we built together.
I'm sure you learned everything you know from your dad, but you're doing some things differently, right?
Absolutely. Sorry, Pops, we learned the technology faster. We like to, so being a public adjuster, it allows you to embed and embody who you really are inside of the trade. Of course, there's a claims process. However, each person can go about it their way. Due to my military servitude and the way I was raised, my grandfather was a spiritual leader, pastor in the church. I felt a need to go deeper into the spiritual uplifting of the homeowner. Because of that, we've made educational videos. We've made we've made motions to get to know the homeowner on a deeper level, to let them know that these items can be replaced and that your family is what really matters. So even though there's paperwork that's inanimate in front of us, we try to stay as animated and deep as we can, because it's not about the items, it's about the person. Because if the person's spiritually broken, then the items don't matter. So it's not that other firms don't practice that, it's that that's our core focus.
Damond, why was it important for you to provide this free educational tool online?
It's education that I feel like every person should have. When you look left, you look right, you see homeowners. And there's not really a class that homeowners take prior to becoming homeowners, rather than having this preemptive desire to want a home, to move your life forward. But it comes with so many things. And some of these events don't get thought about until it's too late. And that reactive nature is what causes the homeowner to have a reactive claim settlement, because they're not educated on how to proceed. When they file a claim, it's their judgment that determines how to move forward. It's their judgment that determines how the claim is going to unfold. We're allowing you to tap into our guidance and our expert judgment, so you don't have to guess. And that's why we feel like it's very important to educate homeowners, because we also want to empower them to be their best selves, even if they do choose to go on their own.
And the videos are really creative.
Thank you.
Talk about, it's a dry topic, but you've succeeded in making it interesting. Wow. Talk a little bit about the videos specifically, themselves, and what your goal is.
I appreciate that. Well, I was inspired by watching other dry topics online become animated, and I said, that's interesting, because I believe the average person in their downtime would like to kick off their shoes, relax, maybe find some entertainment. I think we all work hard, and that downtime is going to be given to whatever means the most to them. And I feel like I wanted to make it easier to get the homeowner attached to the message. I feel like there's a lot of messages out there, but if I can find a way that's easy to digest, make them laugh, it's going to cause them to feel and remember these things.
And so what do you do? What do you do to do that? Get your message across.
We create shows, we create content, short films, short events. One of my favorite shows was called Is It Covered? And if in the insurance claims process, there's different coverages to recover your items. Coverage A is your structure, which is your home. Coverage B is other structures, which is your outdoor pool that's detached from the home, your shed that's 20 feet back. Coverage C is personal property, which is, let's say you took your home, you turned it upside down and you shook it. Whatever fell out mostly is going to be personal property. The coverages go past that, but I made a show of things that are covered, and I found pretty odd objects in the home that were still covered, but it's almost like an object you wouldn't see every day, such as maybe it was a bobblehead with the shape of an onion and it was nodding, and you didn't know what that was, but it's covered, right? But then there's things that weren't covered, such as real pets. And people said, I was laughing at you in these videos, but I didn't know pets weren't truly covered. And it started a conversation for us to be able to get them more prepared because they didn't have pet insurance for their pet. So it starts the conversation so they can be prepared in the time that they may have not been.
So Lamar, speaking of that, there are so many things to think about in the minutes, the hours, the days, and the weeks after a disaster. What can we do as property owners ahead of time to prepare for the worst? Get pet insurance. What else?
Well, I would advise you, everybody should review their policy at least every 2 years. Reassess the value of your property. We find out a lot of these homeowners from our data are underinsured. So I would also advise to have, a nest egg of 6 to 12 months of income, because sometimes the insurance company takes their time they're not rushing to pay you. We try to settle within 30 days, but sometimes the client might misunderstand and really think that, hey, I'm covered, they're supposed to indemnify me. They are, but read the conditions of the policy, see how long they are legally allowed to take to pay you. So that's some of my advice, and to prepare for the worst. We handle a lot of fires, so I would definitely schedule maintenance for your furnace. Have it checked before the winter, because we've seen a lot of it when the heat is turned on. Some of these furnaces backfire. They put out a lot of soot. Some of them light up on fire. And I would also advise to avoid space heaters right now.
You typically, as you said, see claims adjusting for after a fire, but it's also for other natural disasters, correct?
That's
Can you give me
correct.
some other examples?
We go to the catastrophe. Say when Texas had this flood and it froze over a few years back, we were there. So those are some of the catastrophes that could happen. Hurricanes, tornadoes. Those are when the large number of groups of homes are damaged. Those are some of the catastrophes that really require a large insurance adjuster presence. There's not enough of us to go around. So when it comes to a wildfire situation like California, the director is sending us letters saying, hey, we need more adjusters here. So that's the type of stuff we handle, larger disasters, catastrophes, and individual house fires and floods as well.
I'd like to add B2B. Why does that matter? We've had a convenience store where there was a little fire, but they sell food, and now that food's contaminated, but it's all inventory. And you have to continue your operations. Your staff isn't any less free. So we try to turn your operations around faster and account for your lost income while you're, as an entrepreneur, handling all the things that you're handling as well. So a lot of commercial and B2B as well.
So, it's not just residential.
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know. Do property owners, do they have to use an adjuster?
The short answer is they don't. The long answer is they end up calling. They usually end up calling when there is a event that wasn't pleasant to them that occurred. At that point, we then ask what was said and done.
By the insurance company?
Yes, by the insurance company and the homeowner, due to the fact that their stories get logged into the system. And then we have to advocate on behalf of what was already stated from them, who may have not read their policy. such as the word flood. Flood. My basement flooded. Well, flood means that there's a surface of a body of water that has rose above what it normally has in the volume of what that body of water pertains. So let's say there's a nearby lake and it rose above sea level. That's a flood. Floods have to be covered a certain way under a national flood zone insurance. So at this point, if you use that terminology because your basement flooded, you just use the terminology that would cause you to get denied.
Would preclude you unless you had flood insurance.
Correct. But let's say if your pipe burst in your wall and it was a sudden unforeseen incident that you couldn't avoid, and it gets illustrated in that manner. And you had the responding emergency trade understand it and see it that way and document it accordingly. Well, the policy language will now line up with the loss, and now that'll allow us to work. So it depends on your story. It depends on us being able to document your file. I see it this way. Your file's a story and someone's trying to write it. I'm an author, the insurance company's an author. By the time we get to the end of the book, it's going to have a price tag and what happened in it. I work for you. I'm not going to speak for the other side there. So when you don't have representation, you're giving away your voice. So the short answer is no, you don't need us. But you're settling for something that may be above your awareness and knowledge.
It's almost like a different language that you speak.
Yes.
That we as homeowners don't, it's not part of our vernacular.
We laugh and call it a dialect.
A dialect, there you go, there you go. Going back to the educational piece, the ideas that are in this video, they actually sparked an award for you.
Yes.
You, as you mentioned, you're an award-winning firm. You won the BBB Marketplace Excellence Spark Award. How did it feel to be recognized?
Surreal. If I could shorten the words I was going to use, surreal. I would say it was very surreal. It showed for the amount of work that our team has put into the company. We have put 14 to 16 hour days, 5 to 6 days, I would even say 7 days a week. We've made sacrifices. We've had tough family moments where we had to rally and make tough decisions on who's going to run the business and who's going to handle that tough family moment. But I will say what this award did was it solidified all of the equity and the hard work that we put in. And how did it do that? It allowed us to have taller conversations with other businesses, and it allowed us to recruit top tier talent. And that top tier talent is with us today. It helps us retain talent, and it actually is a very super duper morale booster across my team. We have the BBB award in our office on our desk, and I make my team look at it every day.
It's part of the mission, right? And I loved it. It felt great for me because I'm like, in this industry, trust is everything, and that's what BBB represents. And it's such a stigma behind public adjusters sometimes that this was our mission, and we appreciate you for backing that.
You won it. The Spark Award is for newer businesses. Talk about the challenges of starting a new business and running a new business because so many of them fail.
Yeah, right. And we know the stats, and that's why we go so hard. So, building a business from the ground up in a firm, he mentioned the long hours. Mm-hmm. That's something that, that we have to keep our bodies in shape and our energy correct for. Keep our sleep patterns normal, eat the right foods in order to have the right train of thought, to have the right train of thoughts, work in order, you know what I mean? So, because there's so much coming at you, there's so many different hats you're wearing. So the challenges for me being a founder is making sure that everybody gets paid and keeping everything in order, because it's a numbers game sometimes, especially when it comes to the negotiations, and we have to make sure every penny is accounted for.
And you have, Connecticut has no shortage of disasters itself, but you mentioned California, Texas. So how many states are you in now?
We are in, I would say we're rolling up our sleeves right now in 5 or 6 states. It's our father and our family is connected to 27 states.
Wow. And so what should you look for when hiring an adjuster for either of you, whoever wants to answer?
I look for the intrinsic value. I look for the person who says they want to help.
And I should say public adjuster. I keep saying insurance, but public adjuster.
No problem. Funny you asked this question, because my brother and I just got off of a phone call yesterday with a fireman that we are looking to talk further with. He has told us that serving others has been the pinnacle of his identity. When Since I've served in the Air Force, that heart is what I look for. I look for someone who wants to do, you either want to do it or you don't. I look for the person who feels the need to uplift others and serve, but also those who understand our mission. Because if you don't understand our mission, it affects the homeowner. And I'd rather have us part ways ahead of time than to give the homeowner anything less than what I feel like they need for that time of recovery.
In that heart, I just wanted to add on, it breeds longevity. So that's what I would look for, is like who's been here for 15 plus years, right? This is not a fly by night type of industry. We're like people, like it's a becoming type of industry. You have to become an adjuster. It's not just a career, it's who we are. So,
are there scams to watch out for?
I would say always look out for, so state of Connecticut, they cap your fee at 10%. Just try to make sure adjusters aren't going above that fee.
I would say in terms of what being aware or being cautious, yes. And what that looks like in our industry is vendors that you didn't do background checks on. Because, there's a lot of vendors that it takes a village to get your home.
So the public adjuster is going to find those contractors that are going to fix your home?
We have pre-existing relationships over the years of people we've vetted. We also have connections to the associations in the state that have vetted these trades for us to make sure that you're getting people with experience. A lot of these trades get excited at the opportunity to do the job because it's a big ticket for them, but they may not have been trained to do so, and it creates a bottleneck in the claims process, which can cost the homeowner forward because they may not have been qualified. So we want to make sure we ask the right questions to all of the trades, so we know which questions to ask to make sure those trades don't put themselves into a process that they're not able to handle.
So as the property owner, an important question to ask that public adjuster is, have you vetted the contractors that you're going to use, and who are they? That sort of thing. So take me through the process from beginning to end. I've just had a fire. You show up at my street wanting to help. What happens next?
So you just had a loss in your property. Your mind and body is probably ringing out to the highest degree at this point, where you're thinking, where am I going to stay? Am I going to get in trouble for this? How long is this going to take? So when I have my team members arrive to the scene, I have them meet the homeowner where they are mentally. Because if we don't, then we're not going to be able to connect. So we have to connect first to get to know the homeowner. See if there's a need to fill. Everyone's different. Just like our fingerprints, we're all unique in our identities, so we have to learn them. In that learning, I like to let them know I'm just like you. I walk the same streets. I went to the same baseball fields. We went to the same Yankee games, right? I'm just a person like you, but this is where I put my time and knowledge. But to be concise, we deal with their humanitarian needs first. That's getting them into a hotel. Getting them a payment advance if they have insurance that qualifies, so they don't have to be exposed throughout the process, because I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not prepared for that expense. Once we get them sitting tight in that hotel, usually after a week or two, they say, we don't like the eggs in the dining hall anymore. We want a real home, right? Already got you covered. We're already in the market looking for comparable homes that are the same square footage, bedroom, bathroom as what you lost. When we find a house on the market, we want to make sure it aligns with your children's bus route, your work schedule, all those things. If not, then we actually can compensate your gas in excess based off of your expenses that have grew. So it's really looking at your life as a whole and then seeing how we can get you taken care of. We put them in a longer term house that they fall in love with for the duration of the loss that they've suffered. In that time where they're in that home, now I can get to work because they're in a safe space. If we don't get them in the safe space, then it creates a lot of stress onwards. Once we get them in the safe space, that's when we turn into the insurance company's direction and we say, we need to solve this. We need to figure this out. By the time the insurance company normally comes out to inspect it with their own eyes, my brother and I normally have that report written. What's the report? It's about 200 to 300 pages of what happened and how to put it back and what it costs. And we then walk that house with that adjuster and we go through all of them. Look, would you agree this is here? Would you agree this is here? Would you agree this is here? And by the time we have them acknowledge those line items, it makes an airtight estimate. Now, we're licensed through the Department of Insurance to advocate, and we have licensed trades that will stand tall all the way down to the courthouse on this documentation. So when we make them aware and then we capture that in writing that they're aware, it acknowledges our legal documentation in full. That way, when they produce their own estimate, it's going to be cohesive or correlate to the benchmark price that we have set for this claim. There is a negotiations process, and there is more than one way to, I say, cut a sandwich. You can cut it diagonally, you can cut it in squares. So there's different protocols on how to put your home back. My job is to find the protocol that allows you to have the most capital revenue, and then give you the flexibility within that to make your own decisions. On their side, they may be attached to the stock market, which might have the board of directors, which is overseeing the companies. And if the company is not profitable, then they have to make things happen, right? And the way they stay profitable is with adjusting the premiums or adjusting these losses. And I'm sure if you had stock in these companies, you would want them to be profitable. Mm-hmm. There's also mutuals. I won't go into that. But when we do arrive to negotiation, now we talk to that qualified contractor. Hey, are you able to review what we've settled on and guarantee that this is adequate to getting this project started? And we have a discussion with that contractor so we can iron out anything in their process. By that time, he gives us a contractor schedule, and that's the usual finish line that we all look so gracefully at and hope to end up, sooner than later at that benchmark.
Absolutely.
Lamar, you're reaching people at the lowest point in their life. Why do you find this work so rewarding? It's
fulfilling. It's with it to help others is what I always wanted a career path in, because it's really not about the volume or the money or anything like that. Really, not even about the business. It's about the feeling we get when we see them walk into their fully renovated home. We show them the silver lining. As long as everybody's okay, we'll get this back to hopefully to the house of your dreams that you wanted, what's in your head. We'll find the vendors to try to make that happen. We'll retain the capital to try to make that happen. So that feeling of seeing them satisfied, made whole as a family again, it's not what I expected, but it is there, and we see that. So it touches families, and more so than the property itself.
We're running out of time, but I always want to end with this question. You've been accredited with Better Business Bureau for about 2 years now. What do you hope that accreditation says to your customers?
That you can trust us. Quickly establishing trust. And the reason that's so easy to answer is because that's exactly what it did. Not only to the customers, though, it did it to other businesses, to top tier talent and just people in the community who support what we do. It just allowed us to have deeper conversations.
Well, Damond and Lamar, I really appreciate this conversation. I think it's been a very educational discussion for me and all of our audience. So thank you both for being with us. That's Claims For You LLC, Public Adjusters out of New Haven. And thank you for joining us for Trust Talks. We'll see you next time.